Welcome to CoreTV News on the Hour. I am Martins Dixon. A bomb blast has ripped through the Sabongari Motor Park in Kano for the second time in less than 18 months. The bomb which went off is believed to have been dropped by two men who pretended to be travelers. Eyewitnesses say the explosive devices were stocked in a tabletop fridge concealed in a bag. The police confirmed the development but are yet to disclose the casualty figure.
Salvage the situation and see what we can do. And on arrival, we discovered this vehicle that you can see here, the luxurious bus here, and the damages done to people's personal properties like trading items. What we got to know is that this vehicle is getting ready to travel to Port Harcourt, and they are loading. They are in the process of loading the vehicle, and one of the truck that was being pushed was carrying a fridge to be loaded inside the vehicle, and it was the fridge that went off that gave off the explosion. So it is presumed that there is a primed explosive inside the refrigerator, and that is what we are working on now. So far, I want to confirm that one woman is dead and 8 others are injured and have been taken to hospitals for treatment. The degree of injury is not life-threatening from the way we look at it, some of them.
That those who died have been taken away. We could not confirm how many there are or who exactly they are, but we know that several people died.
Like how many were you told?
Nobody has told me anything. They said several people died, they were taken away, so I can't confirm as of now how many there are and who exactly whom they are.
Who owns the luggage, the refrigerator?
I don't know.
Okay.
Immediate past governor of Kano State. I've expressed a collective outpouring of grief on behalf of the Igbo community and entire Kano State.
Normalcy has returned to Kaduna metropolis and environs after the assassination attempt on the life of former head of state and APC stalwart Muhammadu Buhari and the leader of the Tijaniya Islamic sect in Nigeria, Sheikh Dahiru Bauchi. The state government, after a security meeting at the Sarkashim Ibrahim Government House, lifted the 24-hour curfew imposed on the state following the twin bomb blast that rocked the state on Wednesday. Also, the Kaduna State Commissioner for Information and Chieftaincy Affairs, Ben Bako, says 5 more victims of the blast had died, bringing the official death toll to 44. The Kaduna State Police Commissioner Sheikh Umar had said on Wednesday that 25 persons died in the first blast, and 14 were killed in the second blast, taking the tally to 39. He also added that 5 victims of the blast died overnight, while 37 injured patients are now receiving treatment at the 44 Army Reference Hospital. Barely 24 hours after he escaped a gun and bomb attack, former head of state Muhammadu Buhari says Nigeria has the capacity to crush the Boko Haram insurgency. He made a statement when he received the Kaduna State Governor Ramalan Yero, who paid him a sympathy visit. Buhari argued that the earlier the federal government views the insurgency as a full-blown terrorism, the better. He also noted that having survived a civil war, Nigeria can overcome Boko Haram.
Even by normal conditions, but I decided to rest. Incidentally, I slept very well actually. When this question of Boko Haram started, I'm sure it's on record that the first statement I made, I could recall about 18 months ago. I said, no religion advocate hurting the innocent. So basically, the question of religion is debunked. It's not religious. It's neither ethnic. When they kill children in school in the northeast, they kill teachers, they bomb churches, they bomb mosques, they bomb motor park, they bomb in the market. Why is religion there? Why is ethnicity there? This is terrorism. And I hope the government will come to grips with it. Nigeria is capable of dealing with this. We deal with Awasin, the civil war. For 30 months we fought, and we kept Nigeria one. And God willing, we are going to keep Nigeria one. So, Your Excellency, I thank you very much for coming to sympathize with me, and I commiserate with the families of those who lost, because this thing was ignited exactly when my car was adjacent to it. I came out. Because I was blind in my dress. I didn't know how it came about because I didn't have even a scratch myself. And I saw dead bodies thrown all over the place. So the security tried to move me to the other side because there may be another bomb to explode. And we just got one of the vehicles passing, took the people out, and they brought me home. I hope all the law enforcement agencies and you chief executives of all the states will succeed in securing the country. And may God help us. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress is demanding an investigation into what it insists was an attempt on the life of its national leader, Muhammadu Buhari. Party chairman John Odige Oyegun stated the party's position in an interview with journalists in Abuja. He appealed to Buhari's supporters to exercise restraint, but blamed some elements in government for Wednesday's gun and bomb attacks.
We have called for an investigation. That is clear. We have called for two things we did. We appealed to his teaming followers and followers of the APC to please maintain the peace. And for peace to reign, we also called on the government of President Jonathan to institute immediately a believable, credible inquiry to unearth what is in fact going on. Why would they want to target General Buhari? And indeed, why Boko Haram?
So, sir, is the position of the party that this was an assassination attempt on?
If a child dies the morning after the witch flies over at night, isn't there a connection? Or are they going to tell us that they don't know what is happening in this country? We are not government. We have a right to think what we think, because government is not delivering on its part of the battle. They are in charge of security. They are in charge of protecting our lives.
Niger, Chad, and Cameroon are ready to join Nigeria in creating a 2,800-man military force to combat Boko Haram, which they accept poses a growing regional threat, despite only being localized to Nigeria. CoreTV learns that the country is to present 700 soldiers each to the force in another effort to mount a regional response to Nigeria's terrorism challenge. Niger's Minister of Defense, Karadik Mohammadou, was quoted as saying at the end of a meeting with his counterparts from the three countries that the step is proof of commitment towards eradicating insurgency. Commencement date of the force and its location were not given. The announcement comes less than a day after several people were killed in two blasts in different parts of Kaduna State. A Liberian man has been hospitalized in Lagos with Ebola-like symptoms, but it is not yet clear if he is infected with the killer virus. The 40-year-old Monrovia resident arrived in Lagos on Sunday and was admitted to hospital on Tuesday, suffering from severe vomiting and diarrhea, according to Yewande Adenisha, the special advisor on health for the Lagos state government. The patient was detained for possible Ebola infection, while blood samples were sent to the virology reference laboratory in Lagos, as well as to the World Health Organization in Dakar. The patient traveled from Monrovia to Lagos via Togo's capital, Lomé. Additional said, the World Health Organization has recorded more than 900 cases of Ebola in the epidemic that has raged across West Africa in recent months. But this is the first suspected case to emerge in Nigeria since the outbreak began. Liberia has recorded 172 cases of the disease, including 105 deaths. The Lagos government has begun rolling out an emergency response in a bid to contain any potential spread of the virus across the city. Meanwhile, Lagos state government has expressed readiness to prevent the outbreak of the deadly Ebola virus in the state. Special advisor to Governor Babatunde Fashola on public health, Yewande Adesina, made this known while addressing journalists on the suspected case of the disease. Abiola Oluwole has details in this report presented from our studios.
About 3 months ago, the attention of the world was drawn to the outbreak of a deadly disease known as Ebola virus in some West African countries. The outbreak is followed with a number of deaths in those countries. The media briefing is to calm the fears of residents in Lagos on the possibility of the outbreak of the disease, as well as inform residents on mechanisms put in place to prevent an outbreak of the disease.
Lagosians are hereby reminded to remain calm and take appropriate measures for the prevention and control of the disease. Ebola virus disease is caused by Ebola virus, and outbreaks occur primarily in villages of Central and West Africa. Although the natural reservoir of the virus is not completely known, fruit bats have been considered as the natural host.
According to experts, Ebola virus can be contracted through close contact with the blood, body fluids, organ, and tissues of infected animals and persons.
Transmission of the virus by other animals like monkeys and chimpanzees cannot be ruled out. Those at the higher risk include health workers, families, and friends of an infected person in the course of feeding or holding or caring for the patient. Early symptoms of Ebola virus disease include fever, headache, chills, diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, sore throat, backache, and joint pains. Later symptoms include bleeding from the eyes, ears, and nose, bleeding from the mouth and rectum, eye swelling, swelling of the genitals, and blistered rashes all over the body that can often contain blood. It could progress to coma, shock, or death.
Additional assures residents of the federal government's support and that of the World Health Organization to prevent the spread of the disease.
Newly appointed Aviation Minister Osita Chidoka has assumed office with a promise to build on the achievements of his predecessors. He also pledged to seek professional advice from aviation experts in the sector. Chidoka made the promise shortly after taking over from the former Supervising Minister Samuel Autumn.
Also want to thank members of the staff. The Permanent Secretary was quite generous to have pointed out a number of achievements within the very short time. Without the team working with me as a family, we couldn't have been able to achieve that, because I remember that dead in the night, they were there to wake me up to say that, look, we must do this. And we have worked together as a family. I deeply appreciate all of you. But whatever has a beginning also has an end. And today I'm leaving the ministry, but I'm not leaving the cabinet. I'm still here, I'm a Nigerian, I'm a stakeholder, and I can authoritatively say that I'm also a stakeholder in the aviation industry, because in 5 months, I've stayed here, made me to understand the workings in the aviation industry, and I can always give advice and suggestions on how I think things should work.
I also want to use this opportunity to commend the former Minister of Aviation, Princess Telodua, for her bold initiatives in the airport remodeling projects, and to say that we're going to look at all that the Supervising Minister has done, the Outcome Minister has done, with a view to maintaining them, improving on the ones that are going forward, and then also to slowly take small steps towards achieving our national aspirations in aviation. So I want to use the opportunity of today's handover to say that I am committed to working with the professionals in the ministry. I will seek professional advice. I will work with the system. We will align our processes to meet government extant rules and regulations, and we will ensure that the ultimate issue of mobility, which is what aviation facilitates, is done in a safe and secured manner.
And now outside Nigeria, a foreign female tourist was shot dead in Kenya's port city of Mombasa, the second of such killing in the month of July, and rising unrest. No one has claimed responsibility for the shooting. Kenya has been hit by a wave of attacks recently. The attacks are blamed on Somalia's Al-Qaeda-linked Shabab insurgents as well as local armed gangs. The shooting took place close to where a female Russian tourist was killed on July 6, also by unknown gunmen. Mombasa has been the scene of worsening unrest in recent months with a string of shootings and bombings. Last month, The Shabab warned foreign tourists to stay out of Kenya. And that's all we can take on this hour. Join us on Top of the Hour for more and fresh news, in-depth analysis. Also, I am Martins Dixon. Next is Core Digest. Stay with us.